Let's start with a little story today. For this, we'll have to go back to the year 2011. In this year, there were two friends who decided to conduct a little experiment. They both stayed in buildings which were there on the opposite end of the same road. They decided to send a parcel from one building to another, and for this they went to the local courier operator. They were shocked to know that this experiment of theirs or this sending of parcel would actually cost them 340 rupees and would take 2 complete days. This experiment gave them an insight, and that insight led them to start a logistic company. Today, almost a decade later, this company is coming out with an IPO for 7,500 crores. And that company is Delhivery. So hi guys, I'm Anushka here, and in this video, we'll analyze what is the business model of Delhivery, what makes Delhivery so successful, and what are the competitive advantages that Delhivery has. These are things which as investors we should definitely know. Also, before we move ahead, make sure you hit the subscribe buttons for more such interesting business case studies. So let's get started. Back in 2011, there were 3 young men, Sahil, Suraj and Mohit. They quit their jobs as consultants with Bain & Co. They had an insight that internet is going to be huge in the coming years, and they wanted their company to participate in this wave. For this, they started Delhivery, which was actually a food delivery company. At this time, Zomato was actually just a hotel listing website. The business for Delhivery was very nice. They were delivering food just in half an hour and were doing above 100 orders every day. But then they realized the scope of logistics and delivery was way beyond food. They saw that most of the e-commerce companies were either 1, using their own logistics services which were very limited, or 2, using existing logistic companies' services that were expensive and inefficient in transportation. If you remember, even till just a few years ago, getting a wrong order was a huge problem, and getting refunds was a headache of another level. The existing logistic companies didn't really understand that there was a fundamental difference between traditional deliveries and e-commerce deliveries. There was difference in warehousing, supply chain management, last mile delivery, payment collection and refunds. And it was because of these inefficiencies in the ecosystem that Delhivery decided to pivot its business to providing logistics services to e-commerce. For almost a year and a half, they were rejected by multiple logistic heads of e-commerce businesses. They didn't want to hand over expensive goods like gadgets or furniture in the hand of a new startup who they didn't know. But this apprehension actually motivated Delhivery to provide better services. For this, they started with identifying the specific problems faced by e-commerce companies. They pinpointed 3 particular problems. The first one was the time taken to deliver products was extremely long. Second, there was no visibility or tracking. So if shippers or consumers wanted to track the status of the delivery, they couldn't do that. And last, the cash cycle was extremely long at 30 days. The cash that was collected by the logistic provider was given back to the e-commerce company after 30 whole days. It was solving for these 3 problems that became the main value proposition for Delhivery. They reduced the delivery time from 3 days to 1 day. They created a better visibility by providing live tracking facility. And last, they reduced the cash cycles from 30 days to just 2 days. Delhivery was able to successfully solve these problems because unlike most startups, they didn't spend their funding money on aggressively scaling all across the country. They actually understood the unit economics and business of how logistic companies work, and they made some fundamental changes to the core business model of these companies. The way Delhivery functions is actually a little different from how a traditional logistic company functions. So let's take a look at what are these differences. So first, Delhivery has a distribution model for delivering parcels rather than a hub and spoke model that is followed by traditional players. In a distribution model, every branch functions like a hub and a processing center. Therefore, packages are sorted and processed from one place only instead of going to multiple places. This way, the packages are directly delivered to the customers faster. In a hub and spoke model, the hub is a centralized big warehouse connected to various smaller warehouses or spokes. Here, a product or a delivery goes to various places for sorting and processing before reaching to the consumers. This is more cost effective, but it increases the time taken for delivery. This method is also not very flexible to process high demands. Second, the operations of Delhivery were tech-driven, which was not the case back then with the existing logistic companies. Delhivery invested a lot in creating a tech system which catered to the specific needs of Indian e-commerce companies. It was actually because of the tech system that they were able to successfully execute the distribution model, reduce the payment cycles, as well as introduce live tracking in India. And lastly, another unconventional thing that Delhivery did was they maintained a relatively asset-light model. The company only owns its gateways, fulfillment centers and line hauls, but the remaining part of the logistics, which is the transport vehicles for all the operations, are leased from contractors and network partners. Now, because Delhivery was able to identify the pain points of the logistics of e-commerce company and was able to create a business model that solved their problems, as and when e-commerce exploded in India, so did Delhivery's business. If I put this in context, Delhivery did 2 lakh deliveries in the year 2012 and they did 28 crore deliveries in financial year 2021, and it grew past legacy businesses like Blue Dart, which was started in the year 1984. And this is not the end for Delhivery. As and when the e-commerce industry grows in India, Delhivery will continue to grow with it because of the competitive advantages it has created for itself. Let's take a look at those now. First is regulatory hurdle. Now, starting a logistic company in India, that too pan-India, is extremely difficult because there are so many compliances and hurdles that are there on a local as well as a national level that the company has to adhere to. Therefore, this creates a huge entry barrier for anyone to start a new pan-India logistics service because it takes time, expertise and experience to deal with all the regulations. Second is the first mover advantage that Delhivery had. Now, Delhivery was amongst the first few players in this industry and hence it was able to sign a lot of big clients. Delhivery today accounts for almost 20% of total e-commerce sales volume in India and has Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, Healthcart as its customers. Third is the increasing customer dependency on Delhivery. Now, till now, almost 41% of total revenue of Delhivery came from the top 5 customers. This gave the top 5 customers a lot of leverage over Delhivery. Now, Delhivery understood that this is a big risk and hence it started to diversify its business and focus on D2C brands. Now, these D2C brands focus mainly on production and sales and completely outsource their logistical work. Delhivery provides a full range of logistics services that you can see on the screen and is the biggest third-party logistics firm. The focus of the company, according to the company CEO, is to provide a suite of logistical services for anything that could be sold on the internet. Now, this is of course expensive but creates customer stickiness as e-commerce companies can very easily and blindly delegate all their logistical headache to Delhivery. Very few companies actually in India today have this wide range of services. Now, despite the fact that Delhivery is the largest third-party logistic provider in India, it is still a loss-making company. It is coming out with an IPO of $1 billion and is currently valued at approximately $2 to $3 billion. Now, one very interesting part of this is that almost all the tech companies which come out with an IPO, you can see that majority portion of that IPO is actually existing investor exiting the company. However, with the Delhivery, majority of this money that is being raised will be invested back in the business. The success of Delhivery actually depends on whether it can reduce its dependency from the top 5 customers it has, such as Amazon, Flipkart, and diversify its customer base to smaller D2C brands and other companies, as well as how well it is able to navigate competition from incumbent players such as Blue Dart, as well as newer age e-commerce companies such as Shadowfax and e-comm Express. And with that, we come to the end of this video. Will you apply for Delhivery's IPO? Let me know in the comment section. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.